Awesome. Okay. Yeah, you're fine. The thing I say, don't stress yourself out about going to yoga. Yeah, I was just thinking about that because my theme this week in the focus for practice is very much in being willing to let go of things and find some space once you do. And I was thinking about that and like don't stress yourself about going to yoga. When I first started seriously practicing, I was going every single day to classes. Like I think I might miss one day a week and I would kind of allow myself that, but I had this like really busy weekend and it was very specifically like scheduled out. Like every little piece was filled. And one of those pieces I was so meticulous about making time for was making it to my yoga class. Well, traffic started to get in the way and then my phone started ringing more. And I was like, all right, well, I could either go to yoga and then be more behind on things and more stressed out the rest of the day, or I could just turn my phone off for a minute and take some deep breaths and then feel better. Like, well, I feel much more relaxed not having gone to yoga today. So I was willing to let go of that thing because like you have these ideas like, and even maybe people in our lives that really serve us for a while, you know, like ideas and elements of our lives that, yeah, they were really beneficial, useful, beautiful, good ways to spend our time and our energy. And it doesn't always stay that way. It's like letting go of your baby teeth. You know, like there at some point we just need to be able to let go. And I've recently been, I've had another one of those moments where the universe just hits you over the head with an idea, and that's been the idea that's been happening. Like, oh my gosh, I have so much more space now that I've let go of this thing that used to be really, really good for me. And then as soon as it wasn't, it needed to go. And now I have room for other things. So we'll work into some twists today. I find twists are really good for clearing this out. And I want to work in some areas where we have that physical compression and pressure, because of course that's necessary too, but then finding the expansion and the release afterwards. So I know it's really weird with the masks, but I still feel like face brushing is worthwhile. So we'll do a little bit of it and we'll all look at it. So index finger and thumb together. We'll do a couple of them on the forehead because that's the one where it feels the most normal. Just brushing that spot at the bottom of your thumb across. And then going from the sides of your nose to your temples, so getting along your cheekbones. And just do like 2 or 3, just down to the chin and then in the center down to the chin, and then just like put the mask back on because the whole thing is very weird, but now you're brushed. And then when you're ready, take your fingertips underneath and behind your ears and start to lift up from that bony spot behind your ears, getting a little bit longer through the spine. And keeping that lift as you rest your hands down into your lap, close your eyes or look at someplace off in the front of you. Just take a few breaths. Even the breath is something that we need to be willing to let go of. We take it in, we get what we need from it, but if we don't let it go, we're in trouble. Oh, it's this constant exchange. A consistent opportunity that keeps coming up again and again to have space to find new things when something else is gone. Start with some ohms, but first take a nice deep breath in and then big exhale. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. And open your eyes. We're going to come down to laying on our backs to start off with. Have your block handy. I didn't mention online. If you have a yoga block, great. If you don't, you can take it. We're going to have, I'll go ahead and grab another one. Thank you. You're welcome. So just coming onto your back, you can put the block off to your side to start off with. But bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. Wrap around a little bit. If you can. Loosen the back, loosen your hips.
Turn the bike down.
I can't. Let me see. I think we can get away with it for just this time we're on our back. And it should do. Okay. I'll try to get up and turn those on again. Okay, so with the knees into your chest, just giving yourself a little wrap around. There's a silhouette there. Okay. And then keep holding on to your right leg. Extend your left leg out so that you've got a little bit more pull on the right leg. And it doesn't matter how far out your left leg gets, just let it extend as far away from you as feels good. And then start to move your right knee side to side. So you're kind of flossing around in the hip socket. And after a few moves side to side, flex your left foot. So the left leg becomes a little bit stronger. And then try to turn your right knee out to the right side and just notice how far it gets. And when it gets to that point where it wants to stop, give yourself a nice full exhale to see if you can relax it a little bit more. Even if it doesn't move, if it just feels a little bit different with that space. And then you'll relax your left leg, take your right knee and draw it across the body so you come into a twist. I like to rest my right foot on the left leg. And then your right arm, reach it down more in line with your hip than with your shoulders. So we have like the arm to a T, and this would be an arm down low. Get a little stretch across your chest. Give yourself another nice, easy 2 exhales, letting yourself soften with the breath out. And coming back to your back, go ahead and take your left knee and draw it in, and keep holding on to the left leg as you extend the right leg out just as far as it's going to go. It doesn't need to go super far. And then gently, slowly moving the left knee side to side, moving around in that hip socket. Starting to actively flex that right foot so the right leg becomes more active, maybe more stable. And then your left knee is going to draw out to the left side. And then when you hit that point of resistance, exhale there, let something go, and then see what that gives space for. One more breath out like that. And then go ahead and draw your leg across the body now so that that left knee is going to move over towards the right, and your right arm goes down, and it's more in line with your hip. It's like a low diagonal. And feeling the left chest, the left pectorals relax. Every time you exhale, your belly softens, creating a little bit more room to twist perhaps. One more exhale. And then coming back to your back, go ahead and bring the knees in, give yourself a little squeeze, rock around and find a neutral place in your hips, working out whatever kinks may still be in there. So move. And then setting your feet down, we're gonna open the knees out. You're gonna feel a little bit stretch on your inner thighs. And we'll just take a brief visit here, just with the feet down and the knees open, just seeing like, how does this feel? Just sort of examining what the body has to say about this pose. And then closing those legs back up, you're gonna find your block. No, you are fine. I will let you know, yeah, if you're about 3 feet further back, you won't be on the film. Just if you care, if you happen to be on the recording that we post for folks online. So that's just, I wanted to let you know. So that I don't want to be on the internet. Okay, so with your block, we're just gonna do a little bit of core work here. So you're gonna take the block in between your knees, and then you're gonna you're gonna bring your knees above your hips. And then take your arms down by your sides and press your palms firmly down into the floor so that you feel strong in your arms and your shoulders, and your back is going to stay totally stable. And then you're going to move your knees about 6 or 8 inches over towards the right. So you have a little bit of a twist going on, and you're going to squeeze firmly into that block without your left shoulder coming up. And then come back to the center. And then move your knees about 6 or 8 inches over towards the left. So it's not very far, but you're staying very firmly in control. A way to think of creating pressure here. Even if you don't twist very far, can you really squeeze those knees in against the block? And then noticing what happens to your breath as you do so. Noticing what happens in your shoulders or in your jaw muscles as you keep rolling around like this. And then take 1 more on each side. After you feel like you're evened out, come back to the center, squeeze the knees into the block, keep squeezing, see if you can keep breathing. Nice long inhale, keep squeezing. Nice long exhale, keep squeezing. 1 more time, big breath in. And then relax, go ahead and release that block from in between your legs. You can set your feet down. And then we'll let the knees open up again. So we've got a little bit of space. Now, if you're feeling tender, take your fingertips and touch the outsides of your thighs so that you're not getting too much stretch if that's too much. But just to see if this feels any different than when we first went into the shape, if maybe some of that pressure is changing your experience. And then you're going to close your legs back up. We're going to roll over onto the right side. So just one more thing as we're lying down, you're going to curl into a little fetal pose. So just draw yourself inwards, knees as far up towards your chest as feels comfortable. And then your left arm, your top arm, go ahead and open that out so that you open up into a twist. So maybe the left arm comes to the ground. Maybe it's nowhere near the ground. Maybe you notice the left thigh lifts up in response to this. Just give yourself another exhale to soften into this twist. And then you're going to draw yourself back in, roll yourself over towards the left side. Curl in a little like a fetal pose. And then take that top arm, the right arm, and open it up. And just see how close it gets to open towards the floor. It seems like it's different every time. Nice. Just let that right shoulder relax. Give yourself 1 more exhale. And then you can roll yourself in. And then you're going to rock yourself up to a seat. And once you get into a seat, bring the soles of your feet together. And then softly come forward, knees bent into a fold. If you need to have your feet separated or out a little bit longer in front of you, then making those adjustments. And I am going to switch the light just so that we're all open here. Take 2 more breaths to see if you can soften when you exhale. And then coming up, we're gonna come down to laying on our bellies. So roll those legs back behind you. Come on down. Start with making a pillow for your head with your hands so that you can rest your head down. And you wiggle your legs back a little bit further. You can rest your forehead or a cheek. And you're gonna slide your hands in by your low ribs, and we're gonna take 3 low, slow cobra poses. So as long as you can breathe, and don't worry about how high you get. Inhale, feel your shoulders drawing back, lift your chest up. Exhale, lower it down. And 2 more, just to observe. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Once more, inhale. Exhale, rest down. And then leave your left hand where it is. Slide your right arm out to the side, palm facing down. You're gonna look towards the left, rest your head, and then let your left leg roll back behind you. So we've got this big stretch across the front of the right shoulder, across the right side of the chest. And only go so far as you start to feel a good stretch, a good opening. One more breath out. And then rolling over onto your belly. We'll switch sides, taking the right hand back in, extending the left leg out, and then, or left arm out, and then roll the right leg back. Yep, yeah, looking over towards that side. Oh, are we in the way of the thing? And just one more exhale. And then coming over onto your belly when you're ready, we're gonna slide the hands back in by those low ribs and come up for a few more cobra flows. Just see if it feels any more free after those stretches. So just on your own, inhaling to rise and exhaling to lower. Maybe you do about 2 more. When you feel like you've had about enough, you're gonna press yourself up onto your hands and knees. We won't stay on knees today. I just wanna go up with a little transition into downward dog. So you're gonna come up so that you can feel your fingertips pressing, your heart pressing down into your hands. You should feel kind of a lot of pressure up in the back of your heart as it rolls up to the ceiling. And then take your elbows and roll them back towards your thighs. And then we'll come up into downward dog. We'll move after downward dog into a forward fold. So if you need to come out before I say so, then you know that's where you're going and you have the freedom to go there. But let's see if we can stay really strong in that upper body. If you're still in this shape, take a big breath in. Big loud sigh, breathe out. One more time, big breath in. Big breath out. And then coming into a forward fold. So you'll bring your feet to your hands and your hands to your feet. Go ahead and bend your knees as much as you need so that you can relax your head, even if that means you reach your hands up to your shins. One more exhale. And then start to lift yourself up, coming up to standing. All right. We're gonna do a little bit of twisting around, kind of like I was saying, some of that compression and then opening things back up. Okay, so take your block, you're gonna bring it on its tall setting on the inside of your right foot, and then come into warrior one. And once you get there, take your arms up. You're gonna bend into your left elbow, do my new favorite thing where you hold onto your elbow and you give that stretch where the elbow goes up. Feeling a nice stretch along the front of your left thigh. One more exhale. And then relax that. You're gonna let both arms lift up and just feel this extension. And draw your belly back to your spine. It goes as slow as you want to. You're going to reach forward and forward and forward and forward until you bring your left hand down. And then you can take your right hand to your thigh to twist, or you can take your right arm open to twist over towards that right leg. You want to have your front leg bent at least a little bit so it's not too hard to get your left hand down. You're going to keep pulling your right hip back towards your left foot. So some toning, there's a little bit of heat and pressure there. One more exhale. And then you can relax your right arm down, look forward, and take your hands back up, coming back into warrior one. Give a little break to your front leg. And then go back into the bend. And then you're going to take your left arm forward. You can take your right hand to your hip, or take your right arm back behind you, and then start to look back towards your right elbow, your right shoulder, or your right hand, depending on how far everything's going back. And then if you moved your right hand up, put your right hand back to your hip, you're going to reach that left arm all the way up in the air. We've got revolved peaceful warrior. Coming from this big twisted up position. Take another big breath in. And then a warrior two. You can open it all out towards that right side. You're going to have to wiggle your feet around a little bit. Relax your shoulders down. Notice the way this changes in the shoulders if you turn the palms up. And then turning the palms back down. And then go ahead and straighten your leg and relax the shape. And we'll start to switch over towards the other side. So I'll take your left foot forward, your right foot back. Kind of a long standing flow today. With your left leg bent, take your arms up. And you're going to stay lifted, bend your right elbow and hold on to your right elbow. And then you feel the right elbow reaching up taller. And if you want more sensation, you're going to very strongly push that right foot down into your mat, into the floor. One more exhale. And then release your right arm, take both arms up, feel yourself getting a little bit longer, a little bit taller. Your front hip, you're not letting it drift out to the left, you're drawing it back towards your back foot as you reach as slowly as you want to, slowly is harder, until you come forward and your right hand comes down, and it's either left hand at the thigh or it's left arm up in the air. See if you can release your ears from your shoulders so your spine is a little bit longer, and then give yourself that space to exhale. And maybe you feel the twist getting deeper. Maybe you just feel more space exactly where you're at. One more breath out. And then you can relax your left arm down as you look forward and take the arms back up into warrior one. Once you get there, give yourself a break in that leg. Go ahead and straighten it and then go back into the bend. You're going to take your right arm forward, and then your left hand is either going to come to your hip or it can reach out behind you. And of course, I have more like a 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock position than a 6 o'clock. My shoulders just don't happen to be able to detach from my body. And you'll bring your hand back to your hip, and you're going to reach that right arm all the way up, revolve peaceful warrior. Yep, that was it. I know, it's like rubbing your belly and patting your head and then having to do it on different arms at the same time. One more big breath in, and then unwind it all out into warrior two. So just having your left leg still pointing forward towards that short end of your mat. Go ahead and turn your palms to face up, just feeling a little bit different in the shoulders. And turning those palms back down. One more exhale. And then go ahead and straighten that leg, release your arms, and you can come back to having your feet in. Bring your feet together so that they touch. Like that, that squeeze inwards. You're doing good. Okay. So you've got the squeeze in of your legs, and you're going to feel the weight shift more towards your toes. So it's almost like you could slide a little piece of paper underneath your heels. And then reach your arms up, make Vera Mudra or Charlie's Angels fingers. And then you're gonna reach up and over in a side bend towards the left. No, my left. So you're whichever way you're going is fine. One more exhale. And then coming up and over to the other side. Push down a little bit more on the opposite foot. Beautiful. Lifting, lifting, lifting. Inhale. Exhale. And then come back up and release your arms. And then we've created this really long spine to take with us into triangle pose. So you can widen your legs. If you wanted to bring your block and put it on the inside of your right foot, you could do that. I'll kind of, I don't know, I'll mirror the screen. So you've got one foot is forward. Yep. And whatever the foot that is forward is might have a block on the inside of it. You may not decide to use the block. Your back toes are turned in slightly. You're going to take your hips. Now, the back foot, that hip, can you roll it forward a little bit so you create that little twist? And then you're going to take your that front leg, take that hand down towards the block or to your shin. So it'll be your right hand that comes down. I know I've got my left arm out, but my left leg is forward.
The block is in the
You're
inside.
It'll be here.
Where's the block?
The block is on the inside of your foot.
Like,
So like this.
oh, this, okay,
Yeah.
this hand.
Oh. I know, I'm like 10 different ways here. Okay. So with your top arm up, go ahead and just roll that top shoulder open a little bit more. And then no matter where that hand is, can you have it face the same way as your heart does? So if your heart is facing out towards that little purple banner with the Virgin Mary, you can have your palm facing that way too. And then pretend I'm trying to press my hand into your palm. Turn your hand the other way. Instead of being back there, turn it this way. Yeah. And then you feel that shoulder opening up a bit more. Strong in that arm. One more exhale. And then you can bring your hands back to your hips, start to lift yourself up. And then we'll shift to triangle on the other side. You can either switch your feet or you can turn them around and face towards the back of the mat, whichever makes more sense to you. And your back leg, you're going to turn that hip forward slightly so you can keep the spine a little bit longer. Take your hand down to the block or to your shin or to wherever you feel like taking that front arm. And then the other arm, you're going to take it up. And it doesn't need to get right up above your shoulder. It's only going to go as far open as your shoulder will. You're going to press that hand into an imaginary wall, an imaginary friend that's helping you create a little bit more spark and strength in that arm. It's just kind of turning on all of the limbs. One more exhale. And then you can release the arms back to your hips, draw your belly in, come and stand all the way up. And you're going to bring the legs in. Okay. I think we're going to want to probably come to where, I think like, oh, no, I think we're good. Okay. It's like, do we want to move? Do we want to, okay, so we're going to go from eagle into half moon. I don't want you to worry about getting down to the block with the pose. So when you do it, you don't need to come all the way here because this is really hard. And you could also just have a bent knee there. What you might do is coming out of eagle, just open yourself up here and not worry about how long you stay in it. And then we'll probably just be able to really want like the effect of the transition was what I was going for here, not like having perfectly done. So I'll talk about standing leg and other legs that hopefully I don't mess this up too much. So we're gonna have your standing leg, pick your standing leg, put the other leg in front of it. And that's all that we'll do. So the standing leg is gonna be the back leg. And then you're just gonna come forward, a little bit of a fold here. Just as far as you'll go. Maybe you have like the block out in front of you, put your hands on the block, maybe you put your hands on your shins. One more exhale. And then you're going to start to lift yourself up. Your back leg, your standing leg, you're going to bend into that leg and sit your hips back. Now squeeze your thighs together. Whatever your top leg is, you're going to take that arm on top to either make your eagle feather arms or the wide V, or hold on to your elbows. And you want to keep the weight in the bottom leg, the standing leg. That's just anywhere you can have maybe your elbows crossed, creating that space behind your shoulders. Check in with your breath. And then maybe you can get your elbows closer down towards your knees, because this is going to increase that compression. So we really feel that shift between all of this pressure. And then opening up into half moon. So go ahead and open your arms, unwind that top leg, and then you turn your heart out towards that side. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. And then coming up to stand on up. I just love that transition because I feel like it's so freeing. And then, kind of fun. So we'll do the other side. Yeah. So whatever leg you were not standing on before, you're going to stand on that one. You're going to cross your other leg over and then come down into a fold. So just come as far down as you like to. If you push more into your back foot, you'll feel more of that IT band or outer thigh releasing. For the last set of standing poses. Go from this fold to start to lift you up, and then you're going to bend into your back leg. You're bending into both of them, but it's really bending down into that back leg, and you might just have your top leg with the toes touching, and then the opposite arm is going to go on top. You either wrap up the feathers for the eagle or hold onto your shoulders. You have that V shape where you're just hooking the elbows and pressing them against each other. And from here, moving your elbows downwards towards your knees. Maybe they touch, maybe they're nowhere near touching. One more exhale. And then expand your shape. So you're going to go into half moon, facing open towards that leg that's extending out. Just reach your arms out, take up lots of space with your body. Awesome. And then come on back down. That was great. Like, I'm expanding. I'm just not taking this foot up. Yeah, whatever I need to do. Just for fun, coming into half moon, and it can like be all the way up here, just to kind of find that shape from a place that maybe isn't so confusing. So whatever leg you're going to stand on first, you're going to have those toes facing forward. The leg that you're going to lift up is going to be at about a 90-degree angle from that foot. And you're going to reach same arm, same leg down. And then the leg that lifts is the arm that lifts. And see if you can press into that top hand like you had in triangle, where you had like that power in that limb. And then come on out of it. Yeah. And then just to the other side. And just like this top arm, like kind of giving that a little bit power. Can you give that lifted leg a little bit of power? So you know, like the foot's active and you're like, yep, body part, check, it's there, it's working. And then when you're ready, come on out. I want to just take a picture. We're going to come down into a squat on the block. So you're going to set it down on its lowest setting and then have a seat on it, which is interesting to maneuver at times. But once we get down into the space, yeah. You're going to have your legs out nice and wide so that your knees are bent, and then take your elbows on the inside and press your hands together as you press your elbows out to your knees and your knees down into your hands. And it can be in a little bit closer too, if that's where the hips want to be. But from this pressure, from the hands pressing in, see if you can use that to lift your chest up. Ears out of your shoulders, getting long through the spine. Nice and steady in your breath. One more round of breath. Relax your arms. I find it's usually a little bit easier, safer to kind of scooch back off of the block here, whatever your pathway is. And then you can set the block off to your side, and you're going to take the legs out in front of you. You can take your right leg And if it crosses over, great. If it doesn't cross over and you just want to kind of tuck it in, you can do that too. Lift your left toes, take your right arm behind you and hug this thigh into the center line, no matter if it's crossed or not. You're gonna lift up and then twist towards that top leg. If you can broaden your collarbones. One more breath in. One more breath out. And relax that twist. You're gonna take this leg and turn it onto the inside. If you had it crossed over, go ahead and drop that knee down. Take your right hand back behind you and lift your left arm up. Now, if it's okay to come up onto your shin, you can come up onto your shin for just a moment, feel your heart stretch up. If you'd rather skip that part, you can skip that part, but it's really the strength in your arm that's gonna get you up there. Yep. And then from that space, go ahead and rest on back down. And then we'll switch sides. So you're gonna take your left leg in, and you can cross it over or not cross it over, it's up to you. You're gonna hug onto the thigh, lift your right toes, take your left arm behind. I say lift the right toes because I really feel like it helps to kind of like get the spine up. Yep, yeah. Nice and long through the spine, feeling the backs of your ears lift up, feeling your whole spine get longer and more spacious. One more exhale. And then releasing that, you're gonna take the leg, if it was crossed over, you're gonna uncross it. We're gonna let the knee roll down. You're gonna take your left hand back behind you, and you can lift your heart up to the side. You get plenty of good space through that. If you want to roll up on the shin, it's not your knee that's supporting your weight, it's your arm that's supporting your weight. You're really strong, really strong through that arm. Just take a nice big breath in, and as you're ready, float those hips back down onto the ground. And then you're going to take your legs out pretty wide, so as wide as feels good to you, and adjust the flesh here so that you've got a little bit of support. Start with your hands back behind you, roll your shoulders back and feel your chest lifting up. Leading with the heart going forward. That feels good. You might walk your hands in a little bit closer to your hips. You might decide that this is exactly where you would like to stay, pretending that you're sunbathing in that gorgeous fall day we have outside. But if you wanted to take your hands forward and you wanted to fold in forward, if that's something that works in your body and something that feels good to you, you've also got that option. But I've noticed that this is a really nice way to hinge at the hips. Let's go with 2 more breaths. Relaxing your spine a bit. So we are going to go into a nice, soft, easy melting forward fold. And you've got 2 options. So we're all going to have different arrangements that are going to feel better. Sometimes folding with the legs straight can feel very rigid in the lower back. So if you wanted to bend the knees and have that space to come forward that way, you can do that, or you can have the legs straight. And you might like take a moment if you want to try them out and see which one you really like. And then once you pick one, just settling in, finding a way to relax your breath, check in with your ego's response to forward folds, because that's always an interesting conversation. That conversation with the ego is like releasing the idea of what you think the pose should be so that you have the brain space to be able to just be there with how it actually is. One more breath out. And go ahead and lift yourself up. We're going to come down to laying on our backs. If you, when we do the reclined pose like this, if holding onto your leg is hard, you might want to have a block handy so you can put it underneath your foot. I find that's a nice in-between place. So you're welcome to go there. I will turn the light off again. So that way, hopefully I'll remember to turn the right light off. So we'll go right ankle up on the left knee. You are welcome to leave it there. You might take your right arm in between the legs to hold on to the left thigh. Or like I said, you have that option. If it's kind of hard to hold on to your leg, you can put a block underneath the foot. And then that will just create a little bit more support. So as we're resting here, keep softening with your exhales. I'll be here for 3 more breaths. Nice, long, slow breath. When you're all sorted out with that, start to unwind your right leg, set the soles of both feet down. Might let your knees wander side to side a little bit, just noticing how differently each of the hips feel. And then settling towards center so you can move to the other side, taking your left ankle up. Maybe you hold on, maybe you put a foot on a block, whatever seems like a good match for your body. Yeah, you can just do the same thing that you did on the other side, Tom. It's all good. Finding your breath and then softening into that breath. Two more deep breaths. And then releasing your legs. If you had a block underneath your feet or in your way, you might want to scooch it out of the way. We'll come back down to having the feet down and letting the knees kind of wander side to side, just feeling out the differences between the sides of the differences after you've done both sides of those big hip openers now. And then as you settle back into the center, bring your feet a little bit wider than your hips. So you're going to take the arms up and back behind your head, just letting them rest down on the floor. Draw your toes up towards your shins and draw both knees over towards the right. Now this is going to create a big stretch on the front of your left thigh, the one that's probably not gone over quite as much. If you want to feel more, you're going to try to reach that left kneecap as far away from you as possible. Might even feel a little bit strong. Take 2 more breaths like this. And relax that as you bring both knees back up. And then the knees will go over towards the left side. And with the knees over towards the left, it's that right knee that starts to reach further away from you. Really stretching the front of your right thigh. One more big breath in and big breath out. And coming back to the center, you're going to wiggle your feet back to hip width apart. So they'll no longer be quite so wide, but then see if you can sneak your heel heels a little bit closer to your hips. So the feet are planted down, the knees are up, and the legs are all in line with the hip sockets. Bring your arms back down by your sides. Wiggle your shoulder blades gently underneath your heart. So your heart is already starting to lift up. And then as you push down in your feet, your hips will lift up. Maybe you can wiggle those shoulders in a little bit more. You can press your hands down to the ground. You can press your hands up into your hips, or you can hold hands underneath your back. See if you can get the hips up a little bit higher. Take one more breath in. And then release your shoulders and softly release your hips all the way back down onto the floor. We're just going to take a moment before we go back up into bridge pose one more time, seeing if we've opened up any extra room. So when you're ready, start to push into your feet, lift those hips up, see if you can wiggle the shoulders in again. Do something with your hands, whether it's press them down, press them up, or press them together. See if your heart can float up a little bit higher. Reach those knees away from you, just like you did in those twists. One more breath in. And then relaxing your shoulders and releasing your hips all the way back down. Gently start to bring your knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug, rocking around a little bit if that feels good to you. Widen your knees out. Lift your feet up like they're going to be planted on the ceiling. You can hold behind your thighs or hold up at your feet for happy baby, rocking around if you like, or being still if you prefer that. One more big exhale. And then releasing your feet, bringing the knees back in together. Open your arms up by your sides and let your knees roll over to the right so that you can come into a twist. With every exhale, softening your belly. And relaxing your left shoulder. One more breath out. And then taking that twist over to the other side, moving your knees to the left, giving your right shoulder a chance to release. Soft bellies on the exhales, finding space with what we've just let go of. One more big breath in. Let it all go. And then come back to the center. Go ahead and set your feet down. Let your knees fall against each other and bring your arms down by your side. You can let the palms face up. Maybe you give a little snuggle of the shoulder blades towards each other underneath your back, just to let the heart be a little bit more open and spacious. And if you'd like to remain with knees bent, you can do that. If you'd like to extend your legs out towards Shavasana, you can do that. Anything that you need to set yourself up to be very well supported and able to enjoy the next several minutes of this beautiful rest together. Enjoy. start to come back to your breath, coming back to your body. Take liberty in any small movements that help you to feel like you're waking up, coming back into awareness. When you're ready, you can curl yourself over to one side, offering yourself this moment of gratitude for coming onto your mat, for having the opportunity to gather again. And when you're ready, finding your own version of a comfortable seat, take your time getting there. Choose whatever seat makes sense in your body. Sealing our practice, we release one Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
It's so good to be here. Okay. Nice. Have good days. Anybody tuned in?